Hey guys, welcome back to the Digital Pen Pals podcast. My name is Zach Schertz, and I'm your host. Things have changed a bit. We have taken a 2-month break from the podcast, and it's just me right now. So from here on out, this podcast is going to be run by yours truly. Lincoln has been pursuing his individual content creator path, and he's been doing amazing on Twitch and doing all sorts of amazing things. So you should go check him out. I'll link him down in the description. But yeah, there's definitely some big updates and just some things that I kind of wanted to talk about one-on-one with you guys to kind of catch you guys up on what's going on with Digital Pen Pals podcast. It's been quite a long time, and it's been kind of weird. Me and Lincoln both took a long break, taking hiatus from things to pursue other interests. One of those things for me personally, I've been trying to pursue YouTube on my individual channel, and that's been going really great. And it's been really fun, but it can be kind of draining too. So I'm trying to find the balance in all things where I don't burn myself out, but I am consistent on posting like a weekly video. Not that I have a specific day to post, but just being able to find time in my schedule to do all the things I want to. And so I really got burnt out on doing the podcast. Even though it was an amazing thing to do, it still was just another thing that I had on my schedule that was kind of felt like it was keeping me from spending more time doing other things. And so I kind of had to take a break from a lot of other things, which included streaming on Twitch. I felt like I kind of lost my inspiration to stream. I was streaming my artwork before, and then I took long breaks between streaming and became irregular with my schedule, and that kind of cost me a lot in having I guess if you're thinking technically, like the viewership on the streams were really low, and I just felt like I had lost what I had tried to gain these whole last few months since last year with streaming and everything. And I just felt kind of like, well, did I just, shoot myself in the foot, or am I going to be okay? Like, I feel like I just kind of lost majority of everything that I've worked for. And so, my original whole goal with everything, and this is like my center of how all of this started. I wanted to become a YouTuber full time. That has been kind of a weird dream of mine since I was like a kid. And I remember growing up watching YouTube, as probably many of you guys have, where this was before YouTube was like monetized. There were no career YouTubers. There was no job in YouTube. It was just people posting random videos. Basically just more of a raw social media platform versus what it is today, which is more produced. Even this podcast is more of a highly produced content for a social media. Like that's all it is all of these things are just social media. It's just a different form of it. And so I don't know. It's kind of like a jumbled thoughts, but I'm trying to like kind of express like everything that's happened and why. And so for me, taking this long break from a lot of things and then re-gearing myself towards YouTube, and recently I've been slowly introducing back the things that I used to do, like TikTok. I had hit 10,000 followers on there, and thank you guys for that. That was amazing. And I took a break and with the podcast as well and streaming. And when I came back, I started making some more content recently. And in the last 20 days, we went from 10.7K to 17K. And that's just blown my mind. It seems like I've been able to do less and have higher quality videos, which is exactly what I wanted. I felt like before I was making so many things, and you can relate that to your life however you will. You feel like you do so many different things, but all the individual things you do feel like they're kind of like subpar, and they're not like the quality you're looking for. And I feel like taking this break has given me time to kind of reassess some things and to kind of replan my schedule, so that way I'm better able to schedule myself out, and I also make better stuff. It's a good feeling. And I feel like now I'm on the verge of something for myself personally in pursuing this dream of mine to do content creation full time, you know, with art and with videos and everything. And especially with these recent changes too, with the podcast, with Lincoln parting separate ways from the podcast. I feel like now I have, you know, like this big opportunity in front of me where, you know, right now we're sitting at 150 subscribers, which is amazing. And it's such a cool community. And I know there's a lot of you guys are new that are here, those that have waited the long 2 months for the return of Digital Pen Pals. And I'm sorry for the long wait. It definitely wasn't as announced as it should be. We announced it on our Instagram page, but that was about it. But we didn't really make that last video that we made. We didn't really plan on going on break after that. We had planned on making another podcast episode, but the issue was we were struggling to try to figure out how to schedule more artists to come on to interview. And we were just kind of overstressed by the production with like the animated head icons, which I think in this video, I don't know if I'll end up doing it. You'll have to tell me if you're on YouTube, but I'm considering just taking out the animation process in general because it is a really cool feature, but it is very time consuming. And I think for now, at least for the time being, I don't think it's reasonable for me to be able to do all the other things that I'm trying to do on YouTube and on TikTok and everything else, and do like this part of the animation for the podcast. So, and I know majority of people just listen anyway. You guys will probably be listening on, you know, other sorts of platforms like Spotify or Apple Music or wherever you are, and it doesn't matter. That's just a YouTube thing. My passion is YouTube, and so I think it's cool that we're able to distribute everywhere else, but also the channel itself for Digital Pen Pals is, you know, kind of like this empty slate, and it's really cool to think of where, you know, things can go because it really can be whatever we want it to be. And I think that's what's really cool about anyone that jumps into like content creation is you create a channel, like it could be about anything. You can do anything on there and like, bam, there's your channel, there's your content. That's what you do. And it's so cool to see it all collectively together. And I always think it's cool to look at, like, for me personally, looking at my YouTube channel, see the videos I've made and how they've changed over time. And also Digital Pen Pals podcast, how we started and how it's kind of transformed into what it is today. And I feel like I might have a different vision for where this is going. And I think that's what's great is that you don't have to have everything figured out. You can figure it out as you go along. And so that's what I'm going to try to do with the podcast. And I hope you guys are able to kind of help give me feedback if things feel weird or I don't know. I'm sure they won't. But, you know, you guys are always awesome, and feel free to comment down below if you ever feel like there should be something added to the podcast or whatever. It's just a good time. Let me get some water. I just spilled all over myself. I'm not used to just talking by myself, and so usually between, you know, interviews and stuff, I'm able to like take. Oh man, I got all over my shorts. That's great. Luckily it's just water. But usually I have like a pause break where I can take a drink of water while, you know, while someone else is talking, and so you guys never hear that, but I do need water. I am human, and my throat gets dry from talking too much. But yeah, I'm just excited for the future, and I think it's just so cool to have this opportunity now. And I think the podcasts will definitely be very similar. They're definitely not going to change like drastically or anything, but I feel like there's going to be like a little bit of a change, and I'm excited for that. And just a sec, I have to let my dog out of my room because I'm recording this late at night. This is awkward. Sorry. Okay, come on my door. Come on, dog. And stuff like that. Usually I don't have to worry about that because if something like that happens where my dog has to go outside my room, you know, someone else is talking and I can go, and then I can go run real quick, mute my mic, and go let my dog outside my bedroom before anybody even hears anything. So this is a little bit new for me. But yeah, that being said, it's not all going to be just me by myself. This week it is. It's just you and me. We're all just sitting and chatting and thinking about, our lives as being creatives and being artists. And I think uh, with what I have planned, I'm excited to start scheduling out some interviews. One of my goals is to have an interview per week, which I think is optimal. But again, that's not always possible, and it's not always in the cards to have an interview every week. But I'm hoping to start posting weekly. We'll see how that goes. I'll keep you posted on the Instagram as well. If you're following Digital Pen Pals Instagram, I'll keep you posted on how that goes and if things are going to get posted when they're supposed to. But because before we were posting every Monday, and I want to get back into that groove because that was like a really nice spot. It's always nice to look forward to something on Mondays, right? Like Mondays are kind of usually a transition period from having time off from work or school, and then you have to go back to work or school, and it's kind of a bummer. Though I guess we are in the summer months, so maybe that's not a big issue for those that are going to school. Who knows? But and that begs the question too of like the types of interviews we're gonna have. We're still gonna have a lot of interviews from people from TikTok that we're going to be finding. I have a few artists that I have in mind that I need to start messaging, but I'm looking forward to a variety of different kind of interviews because I think it's always good to have a variety. A lot of artists out there are typically, artists that draw or paint or do a lot of digital art. It's kind of why the podcast is called Digital Pen Pals was, the emphasis on kind of like our background of, doing art, but mostly digital, kind of because we're kind of living in like this digital art age of, it's just like a new transition period between, like most things are digital. Like when you share your artwork, it's digital. When you do artwork, it's digital sometimes. Even if you do it physical, technically the picture you take of it is digital and it translates to like, a digital image on social media. And so that was kind of the idea behind the name of the podcast. Plus like, all the other names for podcasts were kind of taken that we were brainstorming on. And so I'm excited for the kinds of interviews that we got coming up. I'm hoping to get a variety of other types of artists because I feel like just limiting it to people that draw or whatever it's great and I love that, but I feel like there is also something to learn from other people. Like we interviewed someone who had worked for Universal as an art director, which is a little bit different, right? And so that kind of stuff interests me in people that are creative, but in different types of senses, which may not be the, quote unquote, artist with a pen or pencil in their hand, but an artist in a different way, because art can take a lot of different forms. And if it's anything I've learned when I went to college is that there are so many different forms of art, it's kind of impossible to name them all because art is so subjective. And so, I'm hoping to not be limited to just a certain type of artist, but I'm looking into interviewing people that are creative in different ways, and I think it's interesting. And even those two that maybe have taken a creative, like content creation journey. So I'm kind of interested in hopefully getting people like that too that have experienced doing what I'm trying to do, and maybe what I'm trying to do is similar to what you're trying to do. Who knows? Maybe you have similar goals as me, and so I think that would be interesting not only for me but for you, guys, to listen to. And I'm looking forward to, just say the least. But I guess just to get to the meat of this episode, I know it's a little bit weird. I don't know. It feels kind of weird for me to just be one-on-one with you guys, but I think that's really cool, actually. But I just want to speak to the creative process that I've kind of sort of learned a little bit more about while I was on break from everything. I honestly kind of fell out of love with doing drawing, with doing much of anything. I felt kind of stranded. I felt like I still had a long way to go from doing art the way I wanted to, the way I envisioned, all these people we interview. It's like you look at their artwork and you're just like, dang, man, I wish I could do like lighting like that. I wish I could do, physical mediums like that. Like, that's just so cool. And I felt kind of uninspired for a long time. And I think this will kind of make sense too if you ever check out my TikTok. You'll kind of realize the lessons I've learned. I've kind of been posting about it quite a bit. Plus, it helps because it gets views right now. But art block is huge on it's a huge niche on TikTok, and it's very relatable to a lot of artists. And I think that's why it's been able to be so successful on my TikTok individually, is being relatable. And so take from that what you will. If you're trying to grow your audience on TikTok or whatever, be relatable. Do memes, hashtag art block and stuff, and tag, use all the hashtags of artists and digital artists and stuff, and be relatable, and people will flock to that. If it's anything I've experienced. But anyway, during this long process of kind of being on break, I had to refine my love for doing art. And because I felt like during the time where I started to sort of burn out, I wouldn't say it was like complete burnout, but it was like definitely a decline in motivation to really do anything, which is why I stopped like streaming on Twitch as much. I started stressing out a little bit more on everything, and I just kind of didn't feel like the quality was there for me like I wanted with all the stuff I was doing. And so for example, it kind of started on Twitch when I started streaming my artwork on Twitch. I did like a Kickstarter. It didn't pan out, and I was like, okay, that's disappointing and sad, but like, okay, trying to move on from it, but I was still sort of like disappointed in it. And then I was doing art live for people online, and it just kind of felt like it was almost like a show, kind of. Although most people were just drawing and watching the stream as well, like joining in on basically doing like a group sketch session. But I kind of felt like it kind of, for me, turned into like, I'm doing this as a show, I'm presenting my artwork, and that can be kind of stressful. I got kind of used to it over, a period of time, but it got to the point where it just kind of felt like I'm only making art on stream. I'm only doing this while live, and I wasn't really practicing or doing much outside of doing streaming. And I took breaks, and then when I come back, I felt like, because I had been drawing for, multiple times a week, days a week, for a few months, it felt like I had, I was able to draw pretty quickly, and I didn't have that long, like, warm-up time where I felt like I had to get into drawing before I started to draw better. And then after my little short breaks from Twitch, just because I'd get busy or I'd get stressed or overwhelmed, I'm like, I'm not going to stream tonight. I want to have me time and like, watch Netflix or something just to relax. And when I started making those choices and taking too long of breaks, I'd come back on stream, and I hadn't drawn since probably, maybe the last stream. And maybe I drew. I don't remember. I don't keep track of when I draw. But I went back to draw, and I just felt like it took me forever to warm up. And then that made me nervous because I was like, oh man, my sketches are so horrible. Like, I tried warming up. I'd kind of get to a point where I'm like, okay, I can kind of draw. And I would kind of like basically limp through the live stream. And I just felt like I was like, dang it, like I'm like too stressed out to draw because now I'm live again and I'm out of sync with being used to being live while drawing. And then my skill of being able to draw and being warmed up already because I'd been drawing so much, I'd lost that. And so I kind of like lost everything a little bit. And that's kind of over exaggeration, but you know what I mean? It just kind of felt like I lost something. And so what I've done, and hopefully this will help you too, like I let myself just be like, okay, I don't want to draw. I won't draw. Like, and this is very specific to me. I don't know. It might work for you, but it worked for me. So take of it as you will with a grain of salt. But I took a long break, and I decided, okay, I am only going to draw when I want to. And so when I eventually wanted to draw, it still took me a little bit of nudging myself to be like, okay, like, draw then. Like, you're not drawing for anybody, you're just drawing for yourself. Okay, cool. No one's gonna see this. It's just in your sketchbook. It's fine. Cool. Started drawing a little bit. Felt a little bit better. Cool. Couple days go by. Then I kind of want to draw a little bit more. And then eventually what happens is I started to want to draw. And it wasn't as occasional anymore. It was like, for a period of time, it was like every day I was like, oh man, I want to draw. I'd be doing something else. I'd be at work or something, and I'd be like, man, I really want to draw right now, but I can't. And then I'd be mad that I couldn't draw at that time. And so slowly what happened is my motivation to draw grew because I was doing it for myself. Of course, I was posting stuff on Instagram too, but if a drawing ended up becoming good enough or it was good, I would post it. But mostly it was just sketchbook sessions. And I ended up just drawing a lot of heads. Like right now, I'm still into drawing heads. Let me get a drink of water real quick. Sorry, my throat only stays not dry for so long. But I just been drawing heads a lot and just doing character designs and practicing. I went on Pinterest. I keep working on my inspiration art board for art styles I love. That's my board on Pinterest. And just being inspired by the artworks and sketching. And I ended up sketching like 4 heads on a page, and that kind of became a thing for a little bit. Not exactly super consistent, but every time I'd go to sketch, I'd be like, okay, let's draw a head. And so I just kept focusing on heads. I got a lot better drawing heads now. And eventually, hopefully, I'll eventually transition to other stuff and, eventually gain the skills to draw everything better, right? And so that's kind of how that all happened. I gained some motivation back. And as I started to also, on the side, focus more just on YouTube, focusing on figuring out how to actually, this is kind of technical. I might get into it later, but focusing on like SEO, like learning more about how YouTube works with being discovered, because it's very hard to get discovered on YouTube, just naturally. But I learned about SEO, which is search engine optimization, which is basically if you type something in search, which we all have done if you're on YouTube right now, and whatever videos pop up first to that best match what you just typed into the search bar, that is the search engine. So to optimize your videos, there are certain things you have to do. And so I downloaded a program called TubeBuddy, which you can do a free trial, which I had been doing for a while. But I found some new videos on it as I was researching and kind of figured out actually this might help me if I pay for it. So I paid for like a year of it. Just transparency, it's like $40 for a whole year. I decided why not? It's worth a shot, and actually, it really did help me with my own content on YouTube. Kind of taught me how to title my videos. Thumbnails are their own thing. It's just something you have to learn to do a little like nice, so that way it's like maybe not clickbaity, but just something that's interesting that'll catch the eye. And besides learning how to use the title, using similar words and stuff within the description, and with the tags aren't very important, but I also include tags too. But anyway, that's too technical. I won't get into it too much, but you can kind of get the idea. Like I studied a little bit more. I got a little bit more educated on what it is I'm trying to do and how to technically do it. Not just, 'cause good content's great for a YouTube channel, but also I felt like I was missing the part of like, well, I don't feel like I know what I'm doing with the descriptions and the titles and stuff. I don't really know how that works very well. So that's been helping me. And so as I've been focusing on my YouTube channel as well, it's been very awesome. I feel like my videos have been getting better, and that's been really inspiring to me. And so, I kind of realized that you can't always force creativity. Sometimes you have to let yourself simmer, if that makes sense. Let yourself simmer. If you're too stressed out, if you're overworked, don't worry. Don't put on top of your plate a whole other activity to do, such as drawing, if it's going to even stress you out even more, because then you're going to fall out of love with it, whatever that is, whether that's drawing, making videos, whatever. Because for me, everything started to become a chore, and that's not what I wanted. And so I wanted to, and I'm still trying to work on this, I want to learn to be more patient for the long run. A lot of times I feel like I want things now. I want to be a better artist now. I want to be a full-time YouTuber now. I want to have 100K on TikTok or something crazy now, but that's not reasonable. Like, why am I anticipating so much? Like, it's like I feel like I'm basically saying I'm entitled to this. Why don't I have it now? When I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Because how are you supposed to enjoy something if you don't like take the time and have the patience to wait for it? Because I'm going to enjoy anything I have because of the time I spent, years maybe, trying to get there. And because of that, it's going to mean so much more to me. And, I feel like if anyone, maybe there are some of you who are listening out there that could maybe comment in the section down below of the YouTube video. Like, let me know if you've experienced this and how you've dealt with it. But I feel like if you blow up really fast on any social media platform, especially if it comes to like, doing more like content creation type stuff, it can be kind of scary because now you have an audience and you haven't been doing it. Maybe you haven't been doing it for very long. And so I feel like a lot of people that gain virality and gain a huge audience really fast, sometimes that audience doesn't stick around. And sometimes the person that blew up on social media doesn't really know how to continue. They're like, well, I made that one video, but like, what now? Versus someone who, like me, like I'm planning on just the long-term game. I've been doing content for a while, and now I'm ready to handle that kind of like pressure. Because really, my goal is to, basically put out content like I am a full-time content creator, which I'm not yet, but to be to the point where if I did have enough of a following / whatever I need to be a content creator, then nothing really changes. The only thing that changes is that number up top on my channel or the number on my profile on my social media. That's it. The core value of who I am and what I do is already there. And it just means that people have found what I do interesting and they've decided to support me. That's it. And I think that's what we all should probably focus on, is the sheer fact that people are just there to support us and they enjoy our stuff or they find it helpful. And I think that's the important part, is like, I've been forgetting about, that kind of influence. I've been making a few TikToks recently that I've heard from other people in comments and on live streams on TikTok that they actually helped them. Like, their videos actually helped them get out of art block or is helping them and someone else. Like, that blows my mind. And it's just, it still hasn't hit me. It feels like weird or surreal. I don't know. But I just kind of don't I don't feel connected to people watching me or listening to me. It's just weird. And I guess you can kind of forget the influence you have on other people, even if you didn't think it was like that great of a video or that great of a TikTok or something, and you're just making it to get views, I guess. Like, there's still an influence. And so I'm kind of trying to hope that everything that I make has some sort of purpose. And it's really hard to focus on that rather than like the numbers, because a lot of times even like today, I just focus on like, oh my gosh, we hit this X, milestone on TikTok or something with followers, the follower count. But like at the core, that doesn't really matter. It's just like, if I can be myself and do what I do, then that's cool. And the number up top doesn't define me, but it just like basically states, hey, like whatever this person is doing is valuable because look, people are finding it useful or something. I don't know. This is like a weird long discussion, and I have no idea what I'm going to call this episode. But it's just new beginnings, and I just feel like maybe every once in a while it would be cool to be one-on-one with you guys and kind of just talk about the things that I've been learning along the way. And I'm just grateful for all you guys for hanging in there and waiting 2 months for an episode. I do apologize. Just things were crazy, and just a lot of changes, a lot of good ones, I think. And I'm very excited for the future. I hope you guys are as well. And I I'm looking forward to everything that's going to happen. Um, and it's just amazing. And I thank you guys for finding us here and for following this podcast. It's a whole new beginning. It's a whole new transition, and I'm excited to have you guys there with me. And yeah, I hope that this raw little podcast is cool enough for you guys. Hopefully, you guys maybe drew something while watching, or I don't know, maybe you're just in the car. If so, pay attention and be safe. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I think this is the start of something amazing. So thank you guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.